How's it going, everyone? David from dodmedia. Today we're having a look at the brand new Sigma 50mm f1.2 DGDN lens for mirrorless cameras. This thing is a bokeh beast. Sigma have kindly sent me this one to review and test out and have a little play with. I have it mounted on my a7 III, and I've been testing it in a few different scenarios, in studio work and in sort of urban portrait photography. Now, I've not shot very much with f1.2 lenses before. I've used the Canon 1.2L glass, which to me was always, it was nice to get the extra light in, but it came at the expense of sharpness and contrast, and it felt like that light was just blooming too much in that front element. So I never really got on with that lens. This one, however, I don't really understand how they've done it, because the front element is pretty small. And yet this thing has the shallowest depth of field I have ever seen on a 50mm. And yet it has a really, really good contrast. It has a really, really nice sharpness throughout, with very little chromatic aberration, even open wide at f1.2. Now the lens itself is made sort of in line with their other DGDN lenses, so it's a combination of sort of solid aluminium crafted metal and then some hard plastic around the edges as well. It has a manual aperture ring on there, which you can choose to declick, so that you can have a very smooth aperture if you want to be changing that smoothly. Honestly, I'm never quite sure what the purpose of this is. I just tend to flip it to A, where it's automatic, and then I lock it, and that way all the aperture is controlled within the camera. Since it's an electronic lens, I really don't get the point of that. But it's a feature that seems to be requested, and so Sigma are implementing it, and it makes it seem like a slightly artsier lens. Then on the other side of the lens, you've got a switch for changing our autofocus to manual focus, so disabling the motor in the lens. And you also have an AFL button, which by default is mapped to AF on in the camera. You can change that mapping within Sigma's software, and in some cameras within the camera, so that you can change it to eye detect, which is pretty handy. It's nice to have a button on the side there when you're shooting, so that if you're shooting like that, you just press it there, like that, instead of having to mess around with your buttons here. On a short lens like this, I don't, again, see the benefit. It's handy if you're on a 70 to 200mm or a bigger lens to have that there while you're supporting the weight of the lens, but on something like this, it's more of a nice to have. All those features aside, what really matters is the quality of the glass. And the quality of this glass is just outstanding. I was really, really not expecting these portraits that I shot in broad daylight to stand out and give me the kind of contrast and sharpness that I was, promised with this 1.2 lens, but it really delivered. And Sigma are known for producing incredibly sharp lenses. The 35mm art that I bought 12 years ago or something, which is still, in fact, it's what's filming on right now. That lens is sharp as nails, wide open at f1.4. And since then, since the introduction of the art lens, they have just nailed it time and time again. And this one seems just like a victory song for them, because finally they have a 50mm f1.2 to give us. The autofocus on this is incredibly responsive. Even on a slightly older, I say slightly older because it's now about 5 years old, slightly older camera like the a7 III, it is still lightning fast. You can see in the example footage here, it is just flashing from foreground to background in a fraction of a second. It's really able to nail that focus fast and accurately, which is essential, really, really essential when you're shooting at this sort of speed, at a 1.2 speed. That depth of field is so thin. So all I can say is thank you, Sigma, for creating a lens that just stands out way above its competition and delivers a truly beautiful image quality. Nice. There's a link to the lens, obviously, in the description if you would like to purchase it after watching this video and seeing the examples and hearing my opinion on it. If you do purchase it using that link, then it's an affiliate link, which means that I will get a percentage of the sale as a way to help support this studio without costing you anything extra. All right, leave a comment down below. Tell me which one was your favorite picture that I showed you in this review. And yeah, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, ring that bell, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.